We're gonna finish it tonight. And all right, guys, and let's make sure we hit that goal because hey, man, we do want to go ahead and get to that UFC watch party. And also, guys, let's make sure to double tap that screen.
Very much like we've seen in Kashmir and until recently Nagorno-Karabakh.
Well, joining the panel now with a Russian view from the occupied territory of Donbass is the Russian state TV presenter Andrei Afanasyev. Welcome to you. Can you give me your perspective on what you think Vladimir Putin will want from this summit with Donald Trump?
Well, sure, I could tell you what Vladimir Putin wants from this summit, but definitely now we see the result colored revolutions inspired by the West. It all started, the whole discussion, the whole problems the world has now, it started with Iran, and it started with interfering of Western special services and governments into sovereign politics. And after that, the 14th year came, 15th year violated Minsk from the West and all the rest. So what we see now is that West understands that they are losing. You are losing, guys. That's why you discuss it. That's why.
Oh, and this guy's, of course, pro-Russian. He's honestly doing this. He's taking this interview from taking territory in Ukraine. But yeah, he is all for Russia.
They are losing. You are losing, guys. That's why you discuss it. That's why you talk like that. I was so shocked to hear all those propagandist stamps, cliches from your peers.
Shit, we didn't lose the war. We just lost the bet. Look, man, we put $1 billion on Ukraine. Well, $300 billion on Ukraine, and we lost. It be like that, man. That's like when you gamble. That's why I don't believe in gambling. We took a gamble on Ukraine of $300 billion plus, and well, we lost. Like, terrible. But it is what it is, right, guys? Either you live and you learn.
Sorry to hear that. It's a devastation for journalism, actually, in the world. Because it's not an imperialistic war. It's a war for survival. It's a metaphor of survival for Russia. This all started because you were coming too close to our borders in order to actually defeat, destroy, and put Russia into pieces and digest us. And it's a defensive war for us. And this is how it's felt. It was felt like this back in 2014. It was felt like this in 2022. And it is felt like this now. And Trump is saying that 88% of Ukrainian population is ready for the deal. But here in Russia, every single person understands that no deal will guarantee our security other than the fulfilled results of special military operation. So that's it.
Bill Browder, what's your response to that?
Well, that's the most Kafkaesque, black is white, up is down thing I've ever heard. Russia is the aggressor. Ukraine is the victim. Russia's 10 times the size militarily of Ukraine. They launched an unprovoked war of aggression.
No, I would just say that Ukraine and NATO's are the ish starters in this situation. They're the ones who kind of started it due to their colluding together to get Ukraine into NATO. Well, this is what you get.
All this nonsense about
not saying that Russia's right, but they kind of did give Russia a reason to come into Ukraine. Not saying that it was right of them, but that was one of Russia's red lines that they said if you cross it, we will invade Ukraine, and that's exactly what they did.
Being surrounded is just complete nonsense. This whole NATO argument. In the meantime, as Russia has attacked Ukraine for the sin of wanting to join NATO, you've got Finland and Sweden joining.
The sin of wanting to join NATO when Putin literally says you can't join NATO or I'm going to invade you. And I get the argument of, they're their own sovereign nation. They can do whatever they want. But let's be real, though. When a superpower tell you not to do something, it's kind of best you listen. Like, let's be real. We're a superpower. We tell countries all the time, you better not do something. Or we'll put tariffs on you. Or we're going to put sanctions on you. And they usually listen. So it's kind of like the same thing with Russia. It's kind of funny how everybody expects America to be able to go upside Russia's head like they some third world country or like they like some small country. But Europe can't do that. China can't do that. So why is everybody expecting America to do it? I mean, we're putting money into Ukraine to do it, and they can't even do it. So I get the whole anti-Russia rhetoric, but let's be real here. Like, we're kind of being delusional thinking that we're just gonna be able to throw enough money to bring Ukraine into a victory against Russia. And like I said, during that meeting, if you felt any type of way about how Putin's was feeling, well, let's be real. The only reason why Putin has all this leverage is because of Zelensky or Ukraine's poor performance on the battlefield, or them just losing. Like, it is what it is, guys. I don't know how you can blame Trump for how the Ukrainians are fighting. Like, how the Ukrainians fight is honestly not on Trump.
NATO. Is Russia now attacking them? It's just complete and utter nonsense to hear that type of argument. And by the way, this individual probably should be very worried because he called it a war. You go to jail in Russia for calling it a war. You go to jail for 8 years for calling it a war. So you better like modify your description of what's going on over there.
I would tell him, I'll be like, well, obviously not, because he's out here speaking like it. So, I mean, obviously you can call it a war in Russia. Because here's the thing. I mean, the Russian people follow Putin to the T in a way. So him calling it a war and him being pro-Russian, I mean, obviously you don't have the politics right in Russia, considering that he lives there and you don't. I'm just saying, like, how you go tell somebody who lives in the country what they can't say, and he's obviously saying it in the country. It's kind of funny.
There, because you have to call it always a special military operation, what's going on in Russia.
Yeah. Yes, Anna, you want to jump in?
Yeah, because it's actually about the revolutions and so on. This Russian propaganda messages, they never worked inside Ukraine, and they actually use them only outside, because somehow the Western societies nowadays like themselves less, and Russia uses that against, unfortunately, normal and healthy democracies. Inside Ukraine, they never managed to push this narrative, forgetting one very important fact that 3 of the ministers during the Revolution of Dignity were actually Russian citizens who returned back to Russia, and one of them is now an active deputy of the Russian parliament, which is definitely a proof that it was a silent annexation of Ukraine, similar what they did to Belarus, but the Ukrainian civil society is way active and protected us from that. Also, this BS about the defense of Russia is something that I guess even Russian propagandists did not believe, because with all the efforts, with the occupation of some of the Ukrainian territories, they did not manage to even fake any messages about either biolaboratories or an operation that was preparing. I wonder, what did Ukrainians or NATO plan to do in 2022? Invade Moscow or St. Petersburg? This is, of course, totally unrealistic, and it's pretty easy. Travel to Poland and then travel to Russia, and you will choose in which direction a new body in democracy wants to develop. It's pretty easy to guess that it will be in the direction of the European Union, but not in the direction of Yekaterinburg, I am sorry. And of course, Russia was provoked, but Russia was not provoked by NATO. Now its border is 1,000 kilometers longer than it was before the start of the full-scale invasion, another winning.
I mean, since you're crying like a female for my attention, I'll go ahead and give you some, because I'm a nice guy. But Sally, really? I'm subhuman for my views? And you truly like, whoa. I mean, excuse me for taking off the rose-colored glasses. I'm sorry, but I see what it is. I get that you want to just hate Russia. That's fine. I mean, do you, my friend? But just because I'm speaking on what's going on and it's not what you want to hear, I mean, okay, I guess if you want to say I'm subhuman for that, but it's kind of a childish stance. I'm gonna be real with you. And you don't have no real argument for what I'm saying, and you hate the reality of what I'm saying because you can't refute it. You got to kind of throw insults at me. And that's okay, bro. That's okay. If that helps you feel better about it, it helps you kumbaya with the situation, then so be it.
Of Vladimir Putin, together with many more that I can actually enumerate, and many global media forget to mention when describing the so-called invincibility of the Russian army. And also the fact that more and more countries decided they want to join NATO was the fact that Russia kept attacking. Moldova, Chechnya, Georgia, Ukraine in 2014, Ukraine in 2022. So it's a pretty natural decision. Independent states can choose their future. And I'm sorry, nobody wants to return back to the past, to the Soviet Union. I have never seen any other country that past-oriented. They believe that they can find any prosperity, anything, only returning back to the past projects. You don't see any future-oriented thoughts inside Russia, so it's pretty normal that these budding democracies that starting growing and becoming more or less successful on the borders of Russia provoked Russia, because they demonstrate it's actually possible. If you don't have one ruler for 25 years that sucks all the resources from all the parts of the Russian Federation, you can build something more or less worthy. And that is why those poor, miserable Russian soldiers who entered Kyiv region were simply devastated with the middle class life in Ukraine.
So they're so the soldiers are just jealous of the democracy and our lifestyle. It has nothing to do with the fact that we try to go into NATO. They were just jealous that we were just such an advanced civilization compared to Russia. I mean, keep that up. Keep that up. You guys will be a part of Russia. I'll tell you that right now. I always do say maybe these anti-Russian spokesmen might want to watch what they say, because maybe the people of Russia are just like, nah, Putin, nah. I know you want peace, but they talking crazy over there on the other side. Let's just take them over and bring them into the Russian Federation and let them know what life's like. Maybe I should tone it down a little bit, guys. You ever thought about that? I mean, can Ukraine beat Russia? No, but they talking like they can. I mean, they talking real tough, and it's funny to me when they do this, because I'm just thinking like, I wish y'all ish talk reflected the battlefield so bad. Like, I really do. I wish the shit talk reflected what was happening on the battlefield.
Well, true classic is never just about the fit or the fabric, but helping men.
Like, why, God? Why can't you just give me that, man? Would you just let her shit talk be true, man? Let Ukraine be whooping Russia's ass. Like, why can that be the reality? Oh, I forgot, because we don't live in a fucking fairy tale. Remember now, we live in the real world. Whoops.
Dave Smith, we've talked a lot about this in the last 2 years or so, and 3 years now. I don't doubt for a moment that Putin and a lot of people on the Russian side genuinely did feel an element of NATO pushing its luck, encroaching too far, representing a threat to Russian security. I'm sure they do believe that, but that doesn't give them the justification to, as I see it, illegally invade a sovereign democratic European country. And nor do I believe that that is the only motivation for it. I think that Putin's actions in the last 2 decades make it crystal clear that he very much regrets the breakup of the Soviet Union. And if he got the chance, he'd very much reform it.
Well, I don't think that Putin has really expressed that he would reform the Soviet Union. He certainly has lamented the fall of the Soviet Union and the former greatness of the Russian Empire. But just a few points here, because number one, I do think the most important thing for me to say is that
I did hear a lot of outrageous statements like, oh, he wants to take all of Europe. He's trying to reestablish the Soviet Union. I'm just like, people. Like, look, I understand that Ukraine's not going to beat Russia, but Ukraine gave Russia way too much trouble for them to even think about expanding like further. Like, if Ukraine was to give them that much trouble, can you imagine a more established military force? Like, I mean, some of the countries in Europe taking on Russia after they just got done with Ukraine. I mean, no, they're not on the same run that the Nazis were on, just taking out guy after guy moving forward. No, they got held up for a long time on a guy they weren't even supposed to get, like, that was only supposed to take a week according to Putin. But I mean, shit, for every week we got a year.
I strongly disagree with our Russian guest here, who described this as a defensive war or a war of necessity. I think that's just factually not true. This was a war of choice, and it was a war of aggression. And even though it is laughably absurd to call it unprovoked, Vladimir Putin still did make the choice to launch this war, and he is responsible for the enormous amount of human suffering that has come as a result of it. That being said, the defenses here and the responses are laughable. I was actually chuckling when you said, you're needling him for not calling it a war rather than a special operation. Pierce, the last time the U.S. declared war was World War II. Legally speaking, every single war since then, the legal defense for it is that it's not a war, it's a military action. Vietnam, Iraq, Serbia, Afghanistan, all the ones you could think of were not declared wars. So that's a little bit rich. And look, the fact is that Vladimir Putin made it crystal.
But all right, guys, I gotta go ahead and do this UFC fight. So it's probably gonna take about 2 hours or so, and then I'll be right back. We're gonna recap the live. We're gonna take it back again. But I gotta keep the promise to the members. And if you're on a member already, go ahead and join the membership. Make sure to send me an email so I can sling you that Discord link. Anyway, I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one, probably around 1:30, 2:30, around that time. But don't worry, guys, I'll be back. Recap everything right here. Appreciate the support, guys. This is Set with Set Media, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Make sure I ain't missing no super chats. All right, then. Yep, let's go ahead and end it with a shout out from the sponsor. Guys, today modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't. But let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI Set, and use the code SET. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it up one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is Set, and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor.